Why is accepting so much better than avoiding when it comes to the grieving process? I was reading in this book, The Grieving Brain, and I found a quote that is so beautifully written that I just wanted to read it out to you real quick because it really stuck with me and it fits in with today's video perfectly. When accepting comes, it brings a certain sort of peace with it. It's like setting down something heavy, even with a full knowledge that you may have to pick it up again. It may seem to you like avoidance is the only way that you are going to be able to bear with this pain of grief and losing a loved one right now. But here's the problem, as so often in life with things that are easy in the short run. Chances are very low that they are going to benefit you long term. And while accepting is a lot more difficult in the beginning because it requires a lot more sitting down with it, dealing with it, healing it, rather than avoiding where you just push it away and on the surface it seems like that is easier. But over time you are going to realize that avoidance is going to bring you a lot more problems than if you were to just accept what happened. Plus, and I find this the most difficult part with accepting, is that it goes against everything that our brain is trying to convince us of. Because a big part of you is just going to try and not accept the fact that your loved one has really gone now. Firstly, because your brain cannot find a logical place for this new reality. Like the fact that my mom is now gone, it just does not make sense. Because for the first 27 years of my life, she was there. She was always there. Even though we may not have been together or in the same country all the time, she was there and she was my mom and I could call her when I needed to. And now that is not the case anymore. So my brain just simply, it cannot file this new fact. That means accepting is incredibly tough, not only because you don't want to accept the fact that they have died, but also because there is no such thing in your brain that it could possibly make sense of this new reality that is the reality, unfortunately, now. And secondly, and this is what I just find so tough, it feels like you're betraying that person. In a way, accepting is almost as if, well, accepting means I've just moved on, and accepting means that now I'm okay with the fact that they're gone. And we don't want to be okay with the fact because we're not okay with the fact. And so it just, there's this battle inside your head that's trying to go, well, you cannot forget about them. You need to remember them, and you need to remember them very clearly. And it's almost as if accepting means that we're slowly letting go. But, and we're going to talk about this in a second, that is not what accepting is about. There's a whole video that I posted on the guilt that we feel when we are trying to move on or we are trying to heal from somebody passing, which I'm gonna tag right up here so that if you realize that you are struggling with this feeling of anger and guilt and resentment towards yourself for moving on with your life, then this video is going to help you a lot to be kinder with yourself. So let's talk about what accepting actually means. It doesn't mean that we no longer care for that person, or that we're not gonna think about them again, or that they no longer have a special place in our hearts and in our lives, and that we just completely disregard and devalue the part that they did play in our lives. That's not what accepting is about at all. It simply means that we realize that there is a life without them, and this life can also be beautiful. It is never going to be the exact same way than it was when that person was still with us, but it is going to be really nice in its own way. And I have experienced this over the past year. Gosh, soon it's gonna be a year and a half. That's really strange to think about. But I have realized that, yes, it hurts. It hurts so much. But despite the fact that in the beginning I thought I was going to be crushed forever and I would never find happiness, and there's no way that I will somehow survive this and be my normal self again. But now I know that that is not true. I know that accepting doesn't mean you're just completely forgetting about them. It simply means that now my life is also really beautiful, and there's so many beautiful moments, and there's so much that I enjoy, and there's so much love and laughter in it, despite my mom not being here. And yes, I wish she was here, but the fact is that she's not. And accepting also doesn't mean that we can't be sad anymore, or that none of the horrible days are going to be there. Believe me, the more I do work on my videos, and especially on the days where I have to cut a lot or work on it a lot, edit a lot, they're so tough because I'm constantly confronted with the fact that she's not there. And yes, some days where I don't take care of it as much, they're definitely easier. And then there are those days where I just completely break down and I cry and I just have the worst feelings inside me. And these feelings of, why did this happen? I hate that this happened. All those negative feelings, they are going to be there. But you also know that they are going to be quieter another day. And that yes, maybe today is a tough day, but tomorrow is going to be okay again, because you accept the fact that they are no longer with us, and that is your new reality, as hard as it is. And it also means that there's not this constant battle in your mind that just simply tries to turn time back, and that just constantly wishes that it was different, and if it wouldn't happen, and the things that could have been different, and all those possible scenarios that play out in our minds, that they are not there all the time. And they were there for me in the beginning a lot. The more I try to push it away, the more those feelings were there. So once you accept the fact that this is what happened and that this is the way it is going to be forever, it just feels like a big stone has been lifted off your shoulders, and it feels like you can be free again and you can live again. That's what accepting feels like. There was such a beautiful quote also in the book that I showed to you in the beginning, where the author said that she had talked to a husband that had lost his wife. And what he said, I just love, because it fits so perfectly. Because how could you not be devastated when you have children and they're still young and there was still so much to come for this family? But he just said, it was good then and it is good now. And I think we should really use this as an inspiration for our own lives and for our own grieving process. It was good then, but it is good now. And that's what I'm going to leave you with for today's video.